Welcome back, my fellow mobile gamers of YouTube, to my mobile gaming quest where I search for the best new mobile games to share with you guys right here on YouTube every single day. And today we're gonna sit down to play some of Gwent, which is the Witcher card game that released on PC and console a few years ago, on iOS back in 2019, and then very recently here in 2020 on Android as well. So since this game is now available pretty much everywhere, I figured that we would take it for a spin today. And I gotta say, I started playing this game just yesterday and I'm really loving it so far. In fact, this might be a bit too early to say for sure, but I think this could turn into what might become my favorite card game on mobile. That's the best I can say it so far, because I am also only just getting into the game myself here. And it really just comes down to the fact that Gwent is so different from all the other collectible card games I've ever played on mobile. First of all, every match actually consists of a total of 3 battles or 3 rounds rather than just 1 round. And whoever wins 2 of these battles or 2 of these rounds then wins the game. But I'm really getting a bit ahead of myself here, because first we have to select which cards we want to take with us here into the first round now that we've found a match. And I'm just gonna quickly swap out one of them. Actually, I'm gonna swap out 2 of them, and here we go then. Round start, and it's our opponents, it seems, who got to take the first round this time around. So that means that in the second round, we should be able to play first. But now, what do we want to play? Well, you know what? It looks like we're playing against an opponent that uses the same card deck as we do. So I'm gonna start out with this Necker here. Now, this one, I'm just gonna deploy it right now so the opponent doesn't have to wait for us. But this one is really interesting because it spawns a copy of itself, and it's also a Thrive unit, which means that this unit will have its power increased by 1 whenever we play an ally that has a higher power than the power of this card. So this card only has a power of 1, so essentially any other card we play will also increase the power of this Necker character, and this goes on forever basically. So as long as we keep deploying stronger cards, this one will increase its power, and it's really truly one of the incredibly strong cards that you can play in the early game, especially as a beginner where you don't have a lot of fancy cards. This is a pretty fancy one. Okay, so what do we want to deploy as the next one? You know what? I think I'm going to go for the Harpy Egg here, which you might have also noticed that the opponent has also already played. Now, the Harpy Egg is really interesting because it has a Death Wish. And what that means is that it spawns Harpy and it summons it to this row whenever this card disappears from the match, basically. So whenever it either gets destroyed by the opponent or whenever we are able to consume it, such as we can with this one. For example, this one here on deployment can consume an allied unit. So we're going to deploy this one now. I'm going to show you guys how this works, and we can choose to consume this egg, and there we go. This is our Harpy. So now we have a grand total of 17 in power, and the opponent has a total of 19 in power. Let's actually just use this special ability here of our hero. So now we're up to 20, just so we can psych the opponent a bit here. I don't want him or her to think that he or she has the upper hand. Now, that's an interesting hero that they're playing over there. I really wish that we had that in our hand right now, but we don't. But what that one does is that it will spawn a copy of itself if you have a copy in your deck. And so it seems like the opponent actually doesn't have a copy in their deck, because then it would have been spawned. So that might mean that they have the other copy of this card in their hand instead. So I guess that's good to know. So now they have 22 in power, which you can see over here on the right side, the very right side of the screen, and we have 20 in power. Now, we've got a really strong Ice Giant here, which has 7 in power that we could choose to deploy. And you know what? I think I'm just going to go for that. That's a simple and quick turn to take. And it also, once again, increases the power of our Necker characters, which were the very first cards that we deployed on the map. And now we have 29, and the opponent only has 22 in power. So each of these cards have very unique attributes, and many of them trigger when they're combined with other cards, as you've seen here with the Necker cards already. And this is part of what makes this game really interesting to play. Now, this one here, if we deploy it into the melee row, will consume a unit from your opponent's graveyard, and if we deploy it into the ranged, it will consume a unit from our graveyard. Now, this is obviously a really good card to use whenever you've had a very strong unit destroyed, or whenever you've destroyed a strong unit of the opponent's. So I don't think now is the time to use that one. Instead, this one here damages all units in a row by 2. So let's use this one over here on the opponent's row. go, and that removed 6 power from them. So now they only have 16, and we have 24 instead. Now, if at any point they feel like giving up, because it might not make sense to keep wasting cards really if they think that they're gonna lose anyway, they can choose to pass on the round, and if we then have more points than they do when they do that, then we can pass as well, and we're essentially gonna win this round. Now, the reason why they wanna do that is that we only have 10 cards at the beginning of the first round, and then we get 3 new cards in every round, but that's pretty much it. So you have a limited number of cards. You're not really gonna cycle through your entire card deck, and so that means that you might wanna just save some of your cards for later instead. Now, they got up to 25, and we only have 24 in power now, so we have to do something now. So I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna spawn another one of these really strong ice giants, and that should get us up to, yep, there we go, 33. And now I would actually guess that the opponent is gonna pass. Let's see what happens, though. This could prove to be interesting, and it could also mean that whoever is going to win this round, the next round is going to be really short, because none of us really have any cards left. Okay, they got themselves up to 34, and so now it's our turn. It seems like they want to keep going, and you know what? I'm up for that. We can play that game. I'm also just gonna increase our power continuously, so we could choose to deploy this one here, but again, we don't really, I kind of forgot what we have in our graveyard. Okay, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. Let's see if we have something good. We only had that Harpy egg, so I guess we're gonna use that one, or consume that one, rather. So now we have 37, and the opponent only has 34 in points. Their turn. You know, I really think it's about time that they just give up. I'm just gonna keep going for as long as they want to keep going. I'm gonna keep going. This one has immunity and thrive, so I kind of forgot what that means. Let's hold down on this one here. Immunity status, whereby this card cannot be manually targeted. I guess that doesn't really matter. We don't actually have that many cards that deal damage. That's something that you guys might have noticed by now. We very, very rarely get to deal damage to the opponent, and our hero doesn't even have an HP bar either, and there's no mana bar either. We can only deploy 1 card per turn, and the way we win a round is simply by having the most points. We have 44 right now, the opponent has 38, and this is part of what makes Gwent such a unique card game. The vast majority of card games out there have an HP system, have a mana system as a way of defining who gets to win. But we don't have that here in Gwent, and I guess some players of very traditional collectible card games might find this a bit boring, you know, because they don't get to smack their opponents in their head with powerful spells and really powerful cards. But if you haven't played that many CCGs, or you just look at this game as a unique game in its own right, then I don't mind. And in fact, I'm just intrigued by the different type of gameplay that I get to experience here. Okay, so deploying this one in the melee row will consume a unit from your opponent's graveyard. That is what we're gonna do. And we're gonna select, which options do we have? We have no options? Are there no cards in their graveyard? Seriously? Or what? Is that what it means? I guess that's what it means. So now it's the opponent's turn, I guess? Yeah, there we go, okay. Oh, wow, okay, they had been sitting on that one for a while, and now they chose to pass. Seriously, are we gonna lose this one? Oh, man. That was a tricky one. I did not see that one coming. This last card that we have damages a random enemy unit by 2, and the Death Wish is that we repeat the deploy ability, but we're not gonna use that. So is that gonna be enough? That is not gonna be enough, is it? No, it isn't. So we ended up at 47 points, and the opponent ended up at 49 points. But again, it's not all lost yet, because now we're gonna head into round 2. We're gonna get 3 new cards, and we'll have a chance of winning this second round. And this is gonna be a weird one, because we only have 3 cards. So this is... it's gonna be really dangerous to redraw cards now. You know what? I think I'm gonna redraw this one here. Please let it be something good. We can't really use this one for much, because it's Death Wish. You know, in order for that one to activate, we need to have the card removed from the game. So what did we get instead? We got this one here, which has Thrive, and on deployment, it triggers a bronze allied unit's Death Wish ability. We don't have any cards with Death Wish abilities, so that's kind of useless. So I think our best option is just to deploy that one immediately. Then secondly, we're going to deploy the really powerful one. So our card with 9 in power, this old Spear Tip Asleep. And then lastly, we're going to use this one to hopefully destroy an incredibly powerful card that I'm just kind of hoping that the opponent will play now. So let's see, what are they going to go for? They have a card with 3 in power. Oh, okay, look at that. There we go. We're going to destroy this Harpy over there. And I think that's actually going to win us the round, honestly. So let's deploy this one here, and we get to destroy... don't we get to what? Deploy, destroy an enemy unit with 9 or more in power. No, guys, we made the mistake of a lifetime here. We didn't read that carefully enough. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, but what they don't know is that we have this card. And that means that we get up to 12 points now, and they only have 11, so we won the second round. This is so exciting. Now, we're gonna head into the third out of only 3 rounds, so this is the deciding round. Please let us get some good cards here. We got one with 3 in power, one with 4 in power. Oh, man, okay, so we can choose to, I guess, redraw this one. This is interesting. Okay, we don't have any really powerful cards here, but I don't know what we're gonna do here. I'm guessing we're just gonna try to go with this. Oh man, I wonder if we made a huge mistake here. I'm gonna start by deploying this one, and at least then we have 2 in power, and this one gives us up to 5, I guess, in total. And then 9 is basically where we're gonna max out, I guess. And of course, they have an ice giant with 7 in power. Wow, okay. But regardless of whether or not we're gonna win this round though, let's just spend the last few minutes of this match really just appreciating the graphics in this game. The game is a beauty to look at and really makes it very enjoyable to play. I mean, we've got freaking animations for every single card in this game. That alone is something I've never really seen done before. But these sweet, sweet graphics, though, do come at a cost, of course, as the game takes up, and hold on now, a whopping 3.2 gigabyte of space once you've got it installed and fully patched up. So if you're low on storage, this is definitely not the CCG to get into right now. Now, we ended up losing that last round, I guess, unfortunately. So I suppose a lesson learned here. We should have probably stopped the first round, but that's the thing though, you never really know, right? Hindsight is 2020. By the way, do we have to update that phrase now that we're actually in 2020? I guess we might actually have to, otherwise it's gonna lose all of its meaning basically. Anyway, let's go over here to the shop and let's open up one of the card packs that I know for a fact that we have waiting for us. So we can click this button where it says open up some goodies, and we're gonna try to open this ultimate premium card pack here and see what we're gonna get. We got a dwarf, a human soldier, a spell card, give vitality to an allied unit for 6 turns. What is that? Vitality is a status that boosts this unit by 1 on its turn end. Oh man, okay, so that's obviously really, really powerful. That's a very interesting card. And now we get to pick 1 out of these 3 cards to then take with us. I am gonna select the beast for sure. I mean, I gotta, right? I'm using a deck full of beasts, so I'm gonna go for this one here. It consumes an allied unit on this row, and it has a cooldown of 1. So I suppose that means that we can actually get to reuse that ability over and over again. Now, the game, of course, monetizes by selling lots of these card packs for real-life money, just like pretty much every single other collectible card game out there. That is just the way these card games work. But unlike other CCGs, though, from what I've been able to gather from reading the reviews of this game so far at least, pretty much everyone seems to agree that Gwent's monetization is very relaxed, and it's above average in comparison to the competing CCGs out there. And that means that you will be able to enjoy this game just perfectly fine as a free player. Now, before we launch one more round, I really want to show you guys the deck builder, because I also want to use the new cards that we just got. I want to add that one to our deck. So this is where you will be spending a lot of time if you really start diving into this game. This is how you optimize your decks, obviously, by adding or removing cards from them. So this is the new dragon, isn't it? No, that's not the one. This up here is the one. Consume an allied unit on this row. So let's use that. Drag it over here. This is going to be really useful for any cards that have a death wish, because then that death wish is going to trigger whenever we use this card. And one of those cards, for example, is, let's see if we can find it here in the list. There it is, this plant here, which is going to damage a random enemy unit by 2, and its death wish is to repeat that deployment ability. So I think this is going to be a really interesting setup. Do we also want to take this inspirational ballad with us? Yes, indeed we do, because I think that's going to be a really useful one as well. So we're saving our deck, and now I'm confident that we're ready to head in and actually win some rounds instead of losing rounds in this game. So what we've been talking about so far and what I've shown you guys is basically the core gameplay loop of Gwent, but there are a few other small features that are things you can do in between combat, like for example being able to spend victory points, which you obviously earn from winning matches, and you can spend those in a few different upgrade trees. But since this doesn't really have anything to do with the core gameplay, I figured we'd just skip that for now and head into a new round instead, because this has officially then basically been Gwent for you guys. So let me know what you think about it in the comment section. Have you already played this game? Are you gonna download this game and play it now? Does it take up too much space for you guys to to be able to prioritize on your phones. Let's get a good discussion going on about that in the comment section down below this video. And then now let's continue then onto the mobile gaming news of the day, which is that the undeniable king of the games industry, you guessed it, Tencent, earned $54.1 billion last year. $54.1 billion, which is an increase in its revenue, by the way, by 22% from 2018. And it seems like a lot of that growth has come from the continued success of PUBG, both on PC and on mobile, and then of course Call of Duty Mobile, that they also own and that released earlier in 2019. But still, $54 billion though, that is a ton of cash. But I guess there's a reason that Tencent has been buying up game companies left and right this decade, and at this point, they're so large that it's really difficult to imagine who would ever be able to rival them, which, the more you think about it, probably isn't the best situation for us to be in as consumers in the games industry, but at least so far, the monetization of their games has been fairly alright. They don't typically monetize with heavy pay to win. It's mostly about cosmetics in their games, but that, of course, could very quickly change, and if they own the entire industry at that point, what are we really gonna do about it? Anyway, that's something to think about, so I'll leave you guys on that note for today. So thank you very much for watching. Be sure to leave a like on your way out, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.